It now being 3 o'clock, I want to welcome everybody to the meeting of the Halifax Board of Selectmen for Thursday, January 7th, 2021. Hopefully 21's better than 20, but the jury's still out, obviously. This is another one of our extraordinary meetings that we've been having during this COVID period, especially since we haven't met in a couple of weeks. We thought today would be appropriate. As per usual, for one of these meetings, we want to start with a COVID update, and we're going to start with our health agent, Bob Valerie, and see if he has something to offer us today.
I'll start off with the numbers like I usually do, but I thought I'd run with the numbers just pre-Christmas, Christmas Eve through today, which put us at 41 cases. So I tracked it back, like, if the year-to-date number was 262, we had 41 now, that put us at roughly a 15% increase, 15.62, I think, over the 2-week period of Christmas, which was to be expected as compared to the maybe 5 to 8% that we were running per week. Still seem to have multiple cases within single-family homes, which again would be to be expected. But just put some numbers to what Charlie posts already and why they're coming out that way. No hospitalizations, no deaths.
Oh, that's good news.
Yep. Today, the Baker Polio Administration is extending the limits, industry restrictions and gathering limits that are currently in effect, that were to end on Monday, will be in effect until January 24th. So we'll hold the course with that. And then Chief and I think tomorrow I'm meeting with your captain, Matt. Phase 1 of the rollout process starts next week, where our first responders will be able to start getting vaccinated. It's first responders, we don't have any congregate housing, long-term care facilities, home-based healthcare workers, and healthcare workers doing non-COVID facing care. Originally, they had come out and said, that you can't extend any of the vaccine dosages and such, but they're telling you to be smart, though. Don't throw anything away if you have to do somebody else who might be next on the list. A school nurse or, whomever. Better to use it than to lose it. But also, not maybe to open up vials if you could reach out to your next door neighbor, Middleborough, and say, hey, how many guys do you have? I still have 5 shots left. And maybe just shoot it over to them so that...
So what we have, first, thanks to Captain Callahan and Bob for taking care of working on the paperwork. There's like 4 or 5 different applications that we had to do through the state and get set up in their vaccination program. That's all been completed. We have 3 clinics set up. We're going to do at the fire station for first responders, starting on Tuesday and Thursday, Tuesday and Friday of next week, and then the following Tuesday. So we didn't want to vaccinate everyone at the same time. Like Bob said, they don't want us to waste vaccine, so 1 vial contains 10 doses, so we made sure that we have 20 people scheduled that first day, 10 and 10. We have a couple of openings that we have to talk about, like you said. All the towns, all the communities are doing it pretty much, or have partnered up with other communities to do it. So we'll make that available to other towns' first responders first. Other than that, that's all I have.
Yeah, it's
if you could get closer to the light, please.
Sure. This would, this first rollout, though, will give us a good indication of how smoothly it actually, goes for us, because once we get into phase 2 and phase 3s, obviously the numbers of people are going to greatly increase. So in phase 2, we're looking at individuals with 2 or plus ailments and/or age 75 and higher. Early education, K through 12, transit workers, grocery workers, utility workers, food and agriculture, sanitation, public works, public health, and then adults over 65 if they have 1 ailment. So, that having been said, first of all, I don't know how I'd find out if somebody was telling the truth or not, saying, hey, I work for a grocery store, yep, I want my shot, or vice versa. I have another conference call tomorrow morning with DPH, and I have to see how that part of it rolls out. Phase 3 is just the general public. So,
Do you have a timetable for this?
February through April would be phase 2, and April through June would be phase 3. And those are also dependent upon how many doses. They don't expect any shortages, but there's a lot of moving pieces and everything that goes on, both from the state level down to our own dispensing level. We, might have to think about using the school.
We're not really sure, like, at this point, what role we're gonna play in the general public. Right now, we're doing first responders. We are, like I said, we have all of our paperwork squared away. We actually have a billing mechanism where we're not gonna make a fortune off of it, but it would cover all of our expenses. It's UMass actually bills for, handles all the billing for municipalities, which is nice. So I'd say we're pretty well set up for it. It's just we don't know if they're gonna, that next step, if they're gonna use the fire departments to do it or not.
Right. Part of that too, on the payment end of things, is the state right now, I believe, has $45 per person to be able to help with the administration costs. They're looking to bring it up to $90 if they can, but so that would help us out on a financial standpoint anyway of doing it. We know how to do the site. It's all a matter of the personnel, to tell you the truth, having
What is the regimen going to be? Is this a 1-shot, 2-shot?
So it's two. Depends on what medicine you get, so we're getting Moderna. So like I said, we are part of the Brockton Hospital group, so 12 departments working with Brockton Hospital. On Sunday night, they're gonna get the medication at Brockton Hospital, it'll be frozen. We're gonna pick it up Tuesday morning. I chose just to delay one day, because I think that first day could be a mad rush, so Tuesday morning, we'll pick up the medication. It has to defrost for 2 hours. Once we take a vial, and then it can be refrigerated. Once it gets refrigerated, it can be refrigerated for up to 30 days. We don't plan on doing that. We're picking up enough each time that we're gonna administer on that day.
Yeah.
Once we take it out of the refrigerator, it could be good for 12 hours, but as soon as we puncture the vial, it's only good for 6 hours. So we have it laid out, we have a 5-hour time frame, appointments scheduled 15 minutes apart, where we administer the vaccination, then we have to watch them for 15 minutes afterwards. So it's just, 5 straight hours we'll be doing it on Tuesday. At that time, we have to schedule this, well, we already have, scheduled their second dose. So from Moderna, it's 28 days to the day you get your second dose. If we get the Pfizer medication, which we're not going to because we have no way of keeping it at negative 72 degrees, that's 23 days, I believe, for Pfizer. But yeah, we've already scheduled, like the police and fire schedule, everyone has their appointment and their date and time to come back in 28 days, and we'll do the second dose.
Now, for the general public too, and for first responders, they're going to have mass sites, like Gillette Stadium, might be Topsfield Fair, I know it's UMass Amherst, so that if a first responder couldn't make it to a local one, they could go there. They'll run those also for Phase 2 and Phase 3. Phase 2 and Phase 3 too, I know that Shaw's is jumping on board with doing vaccinations, just like they did for the flu. Stop and Shop already did. They don't have their plans in place, but we've been talking about it, and Walmart also plans to. So there's other avenues besides just the town that each person, probably even primary care.
I was gonna say your PCP's probably
Yep.
gonna have some involvement in this too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know? But there's a lot of conversation, both with the state, with other boards of health that, you know, I've worked with, you know, both nearby and a little bit further away, just to see where they're at and where they're going.
And if Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca, they're only one shot. So, but those haven't gotten approval in the US yet. So that will really move things along.
Yeah, I think they rolled out AstraZeneca in the UK.
The UK, yeah, they're using AstraZeneca. And then I think in the UK also, they're splitting the dose, but they're instead of giving people the full dose, they've cut it in half. But the US doesn't think that's a good idea, so.
Doesn't seem, what do I know?
Meaning, I don't know either.
Yeah. Well, at least something's moving.
Yes, it is.
And to Bob's point, there are a lot of moving parts, so things could change in the meantime anyway, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even with case numbers, you know, I got 3 before I walked in, so, you know.
Well, case numbers too, I mean, it's interesting. I think you and I had this conversation. A lot of it, you know, we're doing so much more testing now. So you're gonna get more results and you're gonna see more things. A lot of people that maybe didn't show all that symptomatic before, that never got counted, had they been tested, they may have. So, you know, the numbers are at least better.
Right, and
They're higher, but to your point.
they are higher, and I know, or I think I said it last time, that it can also be a good thing, because now that at least if you know, you follow the precautions,
Right.
and maybe another individual in your house comes down with it, but it wasn't 10 co-workers.
Yeah, right,
It wasn't 15 of these, you know,
Yeah,
so.
right, good point.
You know,
I think like the testing we've done both in the school and here has been good, in that the people, you know, we have caught a decent amount of positive cases in both. And even if those people weren't having, you know, life-threatening symptoms, it prevents that, you know, it now takes them out of the mix. So even if they were just having mild symptoms themselves, we identify it and now we take them out of the mix.
Right.
They're not going to pass it on to someone else who may.
To Bob's point, take the precautions and
Yeah.
isolate yourself better.
right.
So we're going to continue that. You know, Wednesdays has been working out well. The school is closed to students on Wednesdays, so we do staff. You know, usually we schedule 4 hours for staff, and then we'll come up and do town employees for 2 hours up here, and it's been working out pretty well.
And you still need an appointment for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, just a call, we've taken people who don't have appointments.
No, I
We just
understand.
try our best to you know, to space them out so we don't have everyone come at the same time. But we've had employees that come up and just say they want to be tested, and we test them.
Very good.
And, you know, the most solid messaging still comes through mass.gov and CDC. That's where I get my information.
Yep.
There are other media sources that I choose not to use.
All right, thank you, Bob. Jason, anything else to add? You've been engaged in this part of it already.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Chief Shavs, anything?
Nothing related to that.
Okay. No news is good news most of the time.
Tom, there were a couple of questions that came up from various employees, more on the protocol side, Bob. One is, obviously, we now are in a period where some people have had COVID, not a lot, but some people have had COVID, and we still have a travel ban in place, in the sense of, if you go out, the normally is if you go out of state, you come back, you have to quarantine or you have to get tested. As far as I know, for the people who have had COVID, that still applies, in the sense of, we're not particularly sure whether you can get COVID again setting aside the vaccine for a moment. And two is, even if you don't get it yourself, if you don't fall ill, you may still be carrying the virus and be able to transmit it to other people. So as far as I know, my answer to them would be that even if you've had COVID, the travel restrictions still apply. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, they're even telling people that have had COVID that they should get a vaccination when their time comes for it, so.
And what I'm going to probably try and do next week is have another, we had a department meeting about, on the 17th, I think it was, and have a non-selectman, but anybody else meeting for the employees and such, if they have particular questions, so they have an opportunity to ask them. I think we've had enough incidents, whether outside these buildings or inside these buildings, that people want to get a better sense of exactly what the protocols are, even though that we've provided that information to them. They look at this incident and they look at that incident, and sometimes I think we see a difference between how we're handling one set of circumstances versus another circumstances. I want to make sure that they've given an opportunity to ask about that, how everything works. So I'll work with you on trying to schedule something. Obviously, it's going to have to be Zoom or some variant of Zoom, because we can't put we're on the gatherings, we can't have more than 10, even in the Great Hall, or for that matter, over at the school, for instance, multi-purpose. You all talked about the state extending the order, and you already talked about the testing program, so that's all I've got at this point. Except for that, with the testing program, we're going to continue it. Obviously, there may be a little money still available to the town by the CARES Act from the county money. If it's there, we'll be able to fund it through that. FEMA, it looks like, would be an eligible reimbursable expense, but only at 75%. But 75% is a heck of a lot better than zero. May take some time to get the money back, but at least we can be putting it in. Obviously, we've got our own funding. We started off actually with money right at the beginning, even before the CARES Act. We had set aside money for this. And then
We got the, I think it's HR, I might have the acronym wrong, HRSA money, which basically we've got for being an ambulance service was $10,000 in the beginning, and now we're getting another check for 2% of our annual revenue. And I was talking to Sandy about that today, and she thinks the testing program would be eligible expenses out of that money, so.
That's good.
So that's all I got. I'm going to continue through.
Yeah, might as well just keep going.
Legal, no report. Folks have the root cause, no report. On Fieldstone Farms, when I started typing this earlier today, we had a response from Scott Clausen. I had contacted him during the day, and he did say, wrote back this afternoon, said his attorney's still working on that to get the consent agreement filed with court to make that effective. On Greener of Cannabis, I still need to work on the draft HCA. 8 Hilda Lane, it's now currently not before the ZBA, and in the agenda for the planning board, there was a piece of correspondence requesting from the engineering firm the withdrawal of proposed subdivision modification site plan review. They didn't meet on the 17th because of the snowstorm, so it's on the agenda for tomorrow. Country Club Estates. Sorry?
Tonight.
Oh, that's tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah.
Yep, tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah, thank you. You need to show up for that. Country Club Estates, ZBA hearing on Wednesday the 13th at 7 p.m. Streetlight for Homes Analog, I did order that today from National Grid. I don't know what the turnaround time is, but at least that's in the process. For Pledge Tree Service, the Board of Health had asked Pledge to meet with the board on January 20th. It's also on tonight's planning board's agenda for possible non-compliance with site plans. Autumn Lane, the first of the 2 inspections was completed, the next one's yet unscheduled, so we'll see how that moves along. You do have a meeting on Tuesday as part of the Selectmen's meeting with Cronin Brothers Oil for a proposed above-ground fuel storage. The plans are here. The board wants to look at going back over the statutes with Pam. It looks like we'll have to have a public hearing on the 26th with notice to butters and such. We'll make sure that, but you can certainly meet with Cronin on Tuesday. You just can't be making decisions on a permit or something. For the ambulance abatement, you've got a request from the fire department to abate $113,183.62 for December of 2020. And just obviously Pam's not here to make it clear who's making the motion and who's seconding it, just for her notes. I believe she'll either watch the video or she's listening in.
Can I have a motion?
Pam, this is Gordon. I'll make the motion to abate $113,183.62 for the ambulance abatement for December of 2020.
Second.
Mr. Garin seconded the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous.
Let's see, 239 Oak Street, this is simply a stop work order from the building inspector. There's no action for the board, it's in the green file. If the board wants to look at that or contact the building inspector. The highway department provided some photographs of the equipment they're using for the spraying operation. This was funded through the CARES Act. You do have a recycling abatement request, bill number 2374 for fiscal 2021. I gave you a one sheet. I don't know if Pam tends to give you more than that, like the after application or something like that. If you want to see more, we can carry that over to Tuesday. The material simply didn't get here until, I guess, last week, or this week. And
My question is she early or late?
should be late.
Yeah, the mater-
2021?
Yeah, fiscal 2021, yeah. So the bill for fiscal 2021 was due back in the fall,
And she just received it on the 4th.
meaning that Pam received the materials.
Materials, I'm sorry, yeah.
Pam's trying to talk. 1 second. Pam?
Yeah, she came in on Monday, and she filled it all. She thought that she had called her private hauler, but we never received an email or a letter. And so she did contact them, and they did email it to me. And then I also had to fill out the abatement form, which we never received either. So that's what I got. I got it all on, I think it was Monday. I think I scanned it for Monday the 4th.
Yeah, that's the date you have on it, Pam.
Okay.
I move that we deny number 2374.
You want to second it, or?
Well, I haven't seconded any of them so far.
Yes, you have, but that's all right. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so that was Troy and Tom.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm asking for the snow day declaration for Thursday, December 17th.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Could you repeat that, Charlie?
I'm asking for the snow day declaration for December 17th.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Garin seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
We did get a letter from the fire chief. There was a trailer at 32 12th Avenue. There was some evidence that was being used for living space. There's no particular action for the board to follow up on. That would be more with the fire department, the building inspector, but there's a letter there in the file if you want to see it. 161 River Street, the building inspector had sent a letter about lack of occupancy permit and inspections. Again, no action for the board to take. Proposed dock for 35 Ocean Ave, again, no action for the board. Docks, I believe, go to some combination of the Commonwealth and DEP and the Conservation Commission. I'll follow up to make sure that the information is sent back to the applicant. And then Bud's Goods, a host community agreement's been signed by all parties. Bud's needs now to go back to the CCC to have its provisional license amended. And I think, let's see, okay, then McDonald Industries, we have received correspondence from DEP about the continued filling of the site there on the border with West Bridgewater, or East Bridgewater. Just a status update, there's no change in the materials being brought in, simply notification to the town. And then Monponsa Pond with Brockton Resource Management Study update. They're going, because the water levels now have risen sufficiently in Monponsa Pond, they're going to be shutting off some of the flow downstream of Stump Brook to run the series of scenarios that they needed to. They'll be doing that, in fact, starting today and going for the next 2 weeks. So that they'll start off, I believe, with a complete shutdown and then slowly bring it back to 900,000. I think they're doing like 300 and 600 or 900 or something like that. And that's what I got. I do have collective bargaining issues, but I think we can wait until next Tuesday. Any other levels then?
Do we want to go into executive session?
No,
So we're not going to do any of them?
I don't have anything at this point, no.
Okay. And then that's it. So I guess all we need is a motion to adjourn.
Tom, can I ask you a I know this wasn't on the agenda, but I talked to Gordon about it a little bit today. A couple of department heads wanted to start the building committee back up. I know it was a year ago, we had started, and then a year ago when COVID hit, we kind of put all of that on hold.
Yeah.
We think with Zoom and, scheduling, at that point, we were supposed to be doing site visits. We put everything on hold because of coronavirus, but I think we can schedule them where we have maybe 5 members at a time going. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up, that's something several department heads were
Is
looking at.
organized, right?
What's that?
We do have an organized committee.
Yes.
We do.
And the chairman is who?
Me.
Gordon.
I knew it. It was a rhetorical question.
Oh,
So, talk to Gordon, as you said, and set up a meeting.
All right, I just thought that we should bring it up at the meeting, that it's been, the chief called to ask about starting it back up again, so I thought we should.
Yeah.
Do we really need to reactivate it, or is it still active? We just had-
It's still active.
It's still
Just
active,
had
so
meeting.
it's just a matter of calling for a meeting, that's all.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
What are you building?
Had some thoughts myself.
We'll get out the Legos.
Right, that's about it.
All right, can we, anybody want to entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
One second.
And we will call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you, everybody. See you.